Hello. Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, South by Southwest. Thank you all for
Southwest.
coming out. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. We know it's the midpoint of a busy festival. Appreciate you
Busy
choosing
week.
to spend it has been a busy week for the world, for Austin, and it's been a busy week for you. Congratulations. Molly is now an award-winning podcaster. Molly Sims, Lipstick on the Rim. Yeah, applause, applause. Lipstick on the Rim, which you co-host with
Emisha Gormley. It's a really hard name.
I never pronounce her first name right. Your co-host.
Emisha.
You won for Beauty and Wellness, Best Beauty and Wellness Podcast, and you might have noticed that there's a few podcasts on that topic out there, so it was a very crowded field. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, we were honestly just grateful to be nominated, much less win it, but it was a fun Monday night starting South by Southwest. We just got down here, so it was kind of like the cherry on top. We were in good company.
It was an interesting room at the iHeart Awards on Monday night. We're in festival time where things just kind of, but it was an interesting room with all that podcast talent and looking around the room and seeing people that I recognized. There were a few people I recognized their voice more than their face, so that was interesting. What was that experience like for you, though, to see, if there's awards, it must be serious, right? To be in that room and you could sort of feel the medium evolving and almost maturing in a way. Did you get that sense? What was the sense from talking to your fellow podcasters?
Yeah, I definitely did. I just to think that now there's an actual awards and iHeart is doing it and we're all down, during South by Southwest. I just think it's growing. It's just a field that listeners want more of, and they're in it. And as much as they're into TV and film and they're into the podcast, I mean, I get into it. And so it was interesting to see how elevated it's actually becoming. And the talent, I think, from Smartless to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, there's really incredible talent that is doing some incredible storytelling.
And they're at their best, they're so addictive that they become your new, yeah, absolutely. And March is Podcast Awards month because there's the Ambies later in the month later this month in Los Angeles. So
I think it's fun to do a podcast. It's the turnaround is quick, the producing is hard. We just got Risa Tisa. Have you guys heard about Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Yeah. So she picked Lipstick on the Rim. We flew her to South by Southwest to Austin yesterday and got to meet her, and we did a 2-part series. And I have to say, I'm literally, I was pinching myself. But those are the moments where you're like, oh my God, this is so worth it. And, we just talked about getting into relationships that sometimes are not right and really trying to figure out the red flags before you're in too deep. And it was an incredible episode. I cannot wait for you guys to hear it.
I want to talk more about Lipstick on the Rim, and you have quite a panoply of ventures and things going on, and I want to hit on them all. But I want to start because as we talk to prepare for this, I want to start at just a more higher level because I thought what you said was so profound about being a woman at age 50 and above, which is it's even it can even sometimes be hard to articulate.
We could just call it Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, right?
Fine.
But being a woman of a certain age and what it's like to be from a place of great privilege, as you acknowledge, but what it's like to sort of step back and think, okay, what is my next act in a world where media is evolving as we sit and speak here? Media is evolving in incredible ways that have absolutely lowered the barrier to entry for people to get in. There are so many ways to be creative, to be entrepreneurial, to have the flywheel effect where you have a kind of a one brand and many things that shoot off from that, although you have multiple ventures in different sectors going on. But sort of in this moment in time for media, for business, talk a little bit about what you said to me yesterday and just in terms of what it's like to be a woman, an accomplished woman of a certain age at that moment, figuring out what is Chapter 3 and the potential that you see there.
Yeah, I think we all can have a Chapter 3 and even a Chapter 4, 5, 6. I think sometimes we're a little bit forgotten. It's like, okay, you do something really well or 20s or 30s or you're momming. I call it mom, and I'm momming really hard. But then there comes a time where you do want more than just where you are. And I think, especially being a woman turning 50, you really have to dig deep and figure out your own opportunities, because I can tell you they are not walking up to your door. I had a really unique experience where I knew I wanted to do something different, but I knew that I really wanted to be a part of something from the beginning, not just coming in at the very end of a shoot, a project, a film, TV, a brand, and holding up or doing the one scene, or, I wanted something more. And I think it was daunting, and I knew I wanted to do it. I was with an incredible manager for so many years, but I didn't just want to do TV and film. And I really wanted to be with this manager, Nicole Salaka. She's at Linden. And I really thought, I'm like, of course she's going to take me. Like, why wouldn't you take me, right? She didn't take me in the beginning, but she made me do something that I will suggest to everyone wanting to start something. She's like, you're going to need to come back with me with a 5-year plan. I was like, what? A 5-year plan? She was serious. I mean, if you know Nicole, she's very serious. But it really did make me think. And I was like, well, I said to my husband, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do tomorrow. And so that is really that question is how, and I'd already been doing things organically. I had started producing for the Home Edit, Get Organized with the Home Edit. We got it to Reese, and then we got it to Netflix. And so I'd already kind of got those juices flowing. But to really sit down and think, what do I want to do? What story do I want to tell? And that was a real lesson. I spent about 2 weeks at my living room table. I hired a woman named Kim Kreuzberger, who had just left a big brand. And I went through my website, my books. I was halfway through a 3rd book. And they were like, this doesn't make sense. This makes sense. And that is truly how everything started and the seeds were planted. And it's all about planting seeds. I mean, even everything that I've done in the past, week or two was planted so many months and years ago.
Good things take a long time to come to fruition. Well, it's interesting because throughout your career, you've been a model, an actor, you've written numerous books, you're an entrepreneur many times over, you're now a host, working in podcasts and other mediums. You have a very big media profile, so it seems like you've had an appetite to find the new thing that you're doing. Would you say that's a characteristic of yours?
I think it's probably
you're a little
one of my
restless
best.
in your...
I think, when I was modeling, I'm like, things are going to end. This can't lead with this face forever. Like, I definitely always saw, and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should host, or maybe I'll try acting. I took a 2-year acting class when I was living in France. That was difficult. I kind of always saw the writing on the wall, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Interesting. And so it sounds like the 5-year plan that your friend suggested was something that just channeled your focus in terms of where you want to go.
It channeled me with, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? And who do I want my community to be? And what aspect of storytelling did I love? I love reading. I'm an avid reader. I think I have pretty good taste. I really do. That's one thing that I have to say. It's hard to learn to have good taste. I think I have really good taste. I think with producing, I have a little girl. I wanted to have more of and I got this question asked today about a legacy, right? Having something, having her see me in a different light, or her see me working. And I think that was really important. That was part of, in a weird way, my 5-year plan. What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? And I had a woman, Leah Wired, I think she runs People now, and she was like, yeah, I don't really think you should be writing a 3rd book. And I was like, really? I'm like, I already have a writer. I love her. Nah, I don't really think. She was like, you have this website over here. It's really pretty. She goes, it's not really speaking to anybody. She goes, but it's really pretty. And then you have your funny, your TikTok, the women who think you're crazy with your family. And there's no connection between the two. And I was like, really? And she was like, I would look at doing a podcast. I'm like, I can't do a podcast. I mean, it's the same thing in 2012 when I told my girlfriend, who's now my co-host, I can't do Instagram, right? There is no way I'm doing TikTok. And now.
Famous last words.
And famous last words, right? So definitely getting out of my comfort zone was, because I was like, Leah, there's just, I can't do a podcast. Like, what am I going to talk about?
But especially for somebody that works in a bunch of areas, a recurring podcast, what better way to bring it all together in a way that can also showcase your personality?
And hence, Cynthia, that was her point. And
Sounds like you got pretty good advice.
I did. Thank you, Leah, wherever you are.
And just to kind of set the table here, you're a mom of 3 kids.
I'm a mom of 3 crazies that I love. First grade, and I'm an older mom too, so it makes it, we were talking about that, it makes it a little bit tricky. I have a first grader, a third grader, and a 5th grader, so it's definitely full on. We work hard, we play hard, but my mom was the same way. She ran 2 companies, she exercised, she'd adopt every animal known to man. And I saw how she made that work. And I saw how fulfilled at 50 she was. She was fulfilled with us at, she had me later in life, 35, but she was fulfilled. And I could see that. And I think that's why, I don't know, I wanted to have the 3rd chapter. And I just really wanted to see things through. And I really, when you're in our entertainment, when you're in the entertainment business, in most businesses, especially being a woman, you're very, very much underrepresented. And, if that's my legacy, that I can say, okay, I'm going to support women directors, producers. I have an incredible team. I'm adding to the legacy.
Mm-hmm. It's been fascinating to watch the whole wave from Reese Witherspoon to to many others that are very much like that, saying that, I'm going to put the seed in the ground, plant the seed, and create the company that will hire the people to tell the stories that I think are underrepresented. And I definitely, this is actually a nice segue to my question. I'm curious, sticking with the business plan theme, so I'm curious, it isn't always interesting for me to ask hyphenates, especially people that have done a bunch of different things. When you very much you'd say that you are a storyteller, that storytelling has been a big part of your passion. And in part of the doing the new thing was launching Something Happy Productions in 2021 to be kind of an umbrella for the production of your content. Back in those 3 years ago in 2021, what was the first really tangible thing that you did once you decided to start the company? I don't know if you had the name going into it, Something Happy, but what was the first tangible thing you did to create Something Happy as a company, as an actual business entity in the state of California or wherever you're registered?
I think I made it real by naming it. I was sitting in the Hamptons, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to think of a name. And I'm really kind of crazy with names. And I don't know, it just literally came to me, and I'm like, I'm going to call this Something Happy Productions. It was the weirdest thing, but that's also when it made it real for me. I think before, I'm just upstairs, we're in COVID, I'm at my little plastic table, I'm not even at my desk downstairs because preschool is happening over Zoom. So you have to understand, I had 3 kids, a floor down, I'm locked in my bedroom while they're doing their things, and I'm starting to just put things together.
The timing here is significant.
To be really honest with you, Cynthia, it was going before I even knew it was going. I got a lot of luck. This is a really good story. Dana Spector, she's an incredible book agent at CA. Incredible. I love her. She's super cool to me. She believed in me when no one did. I am on the phone with Scott Greenberg, who is not an agent there anymore, but was there for 100 years. And I asked him, who got the new Liv Constantine book? And he's like, Joe Roth. I was like, of course. Guys got men got the book. Anyway, I was like, whatever happened to the last Mrs. Parrish? And he's like, I don't know, call Dana. I called Dana. She goes, you're never going to believe this. This is truer than true. The option is up tomorrow. I go, what? She goes, yeah, it's going to turn around tomorrow. She goes, I didn't know you produce. I'm like, I don't, but I do. But if you can give me 24 hours to get into, the pitches that are going to be set in the next 2 weeks, I'm your girl. And that is truly how it happened. I called Kira Goldberg. I'm like, I know you haven't read this book, but I'm going to give you the notes on it. Have your team read it. I called 3 Dot, Liza Chasen, who's an old friend of my husband and I, who's an incredible producer. And I'm like, I know we have this other project, but I'm telling you, we can get this one. And she was like, I don't know. I'm like, just have someone read it. We turned it all around and we got it within like a week. And that is how it happened.
And that was a kind of spark. You enjoyed that and you were fulfilled.
I loved it. I'm like, I think for me, like the bigger picture, the putting it together, the hustling, the calls, I'm not paying that. Okay, yes, of course I'll pay that. But like, you know what I mean? Like I love finding the material. I love a thriller, Cynthia. I am your girl.
Sounds
if
good.
You want to back a woman.
But as you said, you heard it here. As you said, though, there's a level of trust in the sense of chasing a big property like that. If you without a long track record of producing. But we're going to talk about that.
But also just talking agents into. I mean, I was in Baltimore, Maryland, at a national lacrosse tournament. I'm like, please let me in on the pitch. Please, they're not taking any more pitches. I'm like, I will sleep with you if you will let me in on this pitch. I did not sleep with him, but I got on the pitch and I won it.
Okay, I have to ask you. I was about to ask you if you get. Of course, you referenced your husband. You are part of a bona fide Hollywood power couple. You married for how many years with? Sorry, didn't mean to stop you up here.
I'm married for 12 years.
12 years. To Scott Stuber, a very prominent movie executive, ran Universal Pictures for a long time, is just segueing out of Netflix, undoubtedly into new chapters, has been a producer in between times like that. So I would imagine you all compared notes about book agents and chasing things with the clock on it.
He knows. I read for him, Cynthia. Don't think I don't.
Well, that's where the taste came in, right?
Don't think I don't, boo. Just because you can make something doesn't mean you should. That's my line, not his. No, but, there's a flip side to being the wife of a studio head.
Oh, I can only imagine. In all seriousness, I can only imagine the sense of like, oh, isn't that cute? She's trying to produce something.
So cute.
And that would be so like nice. Nails on a chalkboard to an accomplished entrepreneur, author, model, actor.
I mean, even yesterday, like because I did this whole thing when I was with Risa, because he was like, didn't realize, and then Netflix was like, you got Risa? I was like, I know. So I did this thing for social media. I go, oh, who's the better producer now? And then I panned to Risa. No, but I'm also like, I'm a hustler. Like I know that sounds, but like when you want something, you have to go and get it. You have to be passionate. You have to. In whatever, if you're creating a brand, if you're, you do have to give it your all. But yeah, it is fun when we win. But to back to your point, it's not always easy. I think the doors were opened, right? But then I kept them open, and I keep kicking them open.
And you keep calling, clearly. Let me ask you, so right now, under Something Happy in a Short Time, you've got a range of stuff. You've got you've got a nonfiction show in Get Organized with Home Edit. You've got some scripted projects in development. What was it about Last of Mrs. Parrish? What was it about that book that made you chase it that hard?
I love different class. I'm from Kentucky. I'm from a very small, poor
And when
town.
when you talk to you, at first it doesn't, but if you talk to you for a few minutes, the
if
Kentucky
I'm drinking,
girl, the bluegrass state is alive
in
you. And a Vanderbilt, you attended Vanderbilt. I'm very proud.
Like an accent can make you seem like, oh, you're not as smart. or where you're from, like, And I've always been intrigued by socioeconomic differences, class differences, where you're from, how you're brought up.
It's an enormous part of the polarization right now.
It is an enormous part of everything. I lived in Europe for about 7 years. I lived in London. I lived in Paris. I didn't really make it in Italy. But I saw such class differences and different cultures. So I've always, just as a young girl, been very intrigued when I would walk in a room and someone, wouldn't know I'm from Kentucky. And then the way that if I do a little bit of the twang, they wouldn't take me as serious. Or if they didn't know that I spoke French, which I do.
You can dial it up or dial it down when you
down. So listen, that's just a weird thing about me. I do, but I think coming from, a poor, how I was raised was not poor per se, but like, I'm from a town of 5,000 to 10,000 people. I have an interest in that. And the first project, The Last Mrs. Parrish, was about a woman wanting another woman's life. And what you love about the book is, first of all, it's amazing for two actresses because it's from both their points of view. You come in with the woman, you don't think anything about it. She, gets inside almost like the movie Parasite. She gets into the world. She basically takes the husband from her. But what you under in the end or halfway through the middle is like, the big $130 million, whatever dollar house and all the money is actually not. So she set her up to, I'm really pitching this badly. I'm a better producer this is, but she didn't want that anymore. Her husband was abusive. He was, not kind to the children. She wanted out of the world that she was in. And it's called The Last Mrs. Parrish. But it's about that. It's about a woman wanting another woman's life, being another world. And what you think is so, maybe isn't. Be careful what you wish for, right? Like sometimes.
Do you see it as a limited series, or do you see it as something that could have multiple seasons and be recurring?
No, it's a film.
Oh, it's film.
It's a film, mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a film. I'm excited. It's been a lot of work. We have 2 great writers on it right now. It's a tricky script because it is truly from the point of view changes in the very, midpoint, about 55 pages in.
Are you still enjoying the almost the mechanical work of finding the writers, getting them attached, making sure everybody gets paid, making sure all of that? Do you like the mechanics of running a company?
I quit last week, my own company, so that was fun. Yeah, that was fun. It's hard. It's hard finding the right writer. It's hard. I mean, I've never, I actually admitted to my husband, I'm like, Jesus, this is hard. Like, everything, like the producers, has their hand in everything. Do I like it? I like putting it together more. I like the bigger picture more, but I love, I got to sit over Zoom for about 3.5 hours, and I got to hear 3 incredible pitches on a book called None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And Eleanor, incredible playwright. Ruby, fabulous. Bash Doran, incredible. I was like, oh my God, how lucky am I? And those are the moments where I'm like, okay, this is really good.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about Get Organized with Home Edit, because if ever there's something I could personally use some help with sometimes. But I love the way that they it's not finger wagging. It's just they're showing by example what is possible and how organized your life might be with a little effort.
That was a little bit of a hard show to sell. I started working with them in 2015. I got them for a book, and they were outside of my pantry. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are arguing and crying and laughing over cereal boxes. But I'm like, they walked out. I said to Scott, I was like, God, these girls are so weirdly talented. And I introduced them. They ended up getting an agent, and then we put together a little direct thing.
So again, just to be clear, they came to you as part of a project in your home?
I was writing a chapter in a book of like, what else? I just had a baby. I didn't want to go sit on a set, and I wanted someone to give tips on organization and kind of putting homes together in terms of like, how does your kids use your mudroom, or how does your kids, like, just more about like giving moms information on how to like be organized, for lack of a better word. When you're organized, you're mentally better.
Even just the little tips and the way that they do them. So, well, that was a momentous gig for Clea Shearer and Joanna Teplin.
She's the best, and they're the best, and they've created such an incredible. I'm actually working with
them. And that is a Netflix non-scripted show.
That started with a kind of an 8-episode. Kind of, I don't even know. It was on, I think we did it through DirecTV and AT&T, her deal there. And then we sold it to Netflix, and we did 2 seasons on Netflix.
That's right. It went to Reese Witherspoon. It went to Hello Sunshine and that digital platform.
To Hello. And we partnered with them, and then we took it on. We did like almost like a YouTube series. And then we were like, wait a second, I think we've got something here. And they're just so dynamic. And so talented, and again, great storytellers on their own.
Funny together.
They're so
very
funny.
Together.
I mean, literally, they can cry and laugh and like get mad at each other over a pasta box. It's crazy.
But that's just that trajectory is an interesting example of what's possible in media today. Like something that you incubated at a small level, and then got the Hello Sunshine, which certainly didn't help didn't hurt its stature. Or their stature kind of in the lifestyle and wellness community, and then
you're right.
all the way to a Netflix show.
Right. I mean, that took from 2015 to 2019, 2021. Like, that's pretty fast in our business, right? But that trajectory is what, little by little by little by little.
And you've clearly helped hone that brand.
I'm a big.
That must be fulfilling.
They don't need me now. They're phenomenal. They took off right away, and I'm just so happy to be able to support them and be with them. And they have a new project now. They still brought me into it. Like, they believed in me as much as I believed in them.
That sounds like could be, the lifestyle folks, I mean, in success, those are very long careers, so that could be a long association.
Yeah, and I think, when we did the show, it was interesting because I realized that I'm not a reality producer. I don't truly love reality television. Because a lot of people came and, just because you're on Instagram or just because you're on, TikTok doesn't mean you can have your own show or, you can, but it just takes more. And so we had a lot of people coming and, trying to figure out like a new talent, which was interesting to see because everyone kind of has their superpower and they don't always cross over to different mediums, right?
Right.
But I have to say, Clea and Joanna can do pretty much any medium, and that was so beautiful to see.
That's a good find. That's actually a good segue for that I wanted to talk. There's a couple more projects. Actually, I did want to ask you, Something Happy, where did that name come from?
I have a neon sign in one of my rooms. It's a playroom. It's a small little room, but it says Happy Mess. And I don't know, something about that, I didn't want to call it, of course, Happy Mess, but like something about like just bringing women together to be happy. Happy is an interesting word. It's like someone like, oh, just be happy. I hate when people say that. But I don't know, I wanted it also to have like where I want to come from, a good place, And I kind of got over oh my God, let's do something cool to have someone take you serious. I got over that. So, but yeah, Something Happy. That's truly, I wanted it to come from something that felt really good about storytelling and being together and yeah.
Yeah, well, you're off to a good start here. And then let's talk a little bit more about the podcast itself and what's it been like for you. Obviously, you've been in the public eye, you've been a model, you've been an author, and you've shared a lot about your life in your books. But to be in the public, or I guess I should say the public ear, as a podcaster, where you share a lot about, you get to share a lot more about yourself than you did as a model or an actor. What's that been like for you, opening up and having the public, having listeners be, almost follow along on your life and get, you do get a lot of interactive feedback from folks?
Yeah, I think, it can always a little bit be a slippery slope, especially, when you have a family and you're, feel like you're in the business, so you don't want to like spill the tea too much. But I have to say, it's also been so nice to, the reason why we started the podcast was to not gatekeep and to be transparent. A lot of people won't tell you what they do. They'll just say, oh, I sleep so long, I drink a lot of water, I don't do anything else. I got really sick and tired of that. And so I've never been that. I'm actually the opposite of that. I love building women up. I love connecting. And that is what our podcast does so brilliantly. We are open. We are honest. We have had incredibly hard years after starting it. My co-host, her daughter got diagnosed with cancer. The day she was going to do it, didn't even tell me. She was like, I'm talking about it. I'm like, we're talking about it? Like, we're really going, like, and to really be open and honest. And I think it's just been great because you get to connect in a very different way. And I think, sometimes people think when you're in our business that, like, I don't know, like, just... they didn't know me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like just being able to be honest, it feels good.
Would you say that starting your career as a model, where you are prized, you are paid, your job is to look perfect, to look sexy, to look absolutely amazing, but always perfect, always, is that something that is? What kind of effect do you think that has on a person that is pursuing a career in entertainment, where you get more no's than yeses? It happened. Even the biggest stars get that.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is that it's 99% no, all the time.
There's the Kentucky.
There you go. All the time. It's 99% no, and it's also, I think, modeling was like the best thing I could have done in terms of building up armor and building confidence, because you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too blonde, you're too black, you're too muscular, you're too thin, I didn't know my nose was crooked until I was 22 years old, right? Like, there's not a lot that can tear me down because of that. And I think, it's now served me as a mom, because I'm not easily rattled and I can take on a lot, but it's also served me in my business, right? Like, it's made me build up to that. But I have to say, sharing and having these guests on the podcast, I literally feel like, Amisha and I were talking about that, like, I literally feel like I get to go to school every week. I take notes. I mean, we're listening the same way, our listeners are. And we spend an immense amount of time producing our episode. It's not like we just have someone come on. I know pretty much everything about you. We know what you've done. We do
your homework.
We do our homework, and it is fascinating. And what we're not is how I built that. Right? Because so many podcasts are that. We're not that. We want to answer a question. We want to answer something that you don't know. We want to debunk a myth. We want to figure something out. We want to know, oh my God, what's the next this? And we have the best time doing it. We really, truly, and our guests have just even from day one, we find a way to kind of really get in there and get those answers. And I think that's what our community loves most.
And are you, I think I know the answer to this question, but are you hands-on in the producing, in the planning, in the deciding the topics and hunting down the guests and recruiting them? And
Am I hands-on? Yes, I am.
an affirmative.
Yes, I'm very hands-on. I think for me, the topic is everything because that's our series driver. What do you know?
When you're scrolling, it's like, do I care about that? Yeah,
I
I
care
really, really want to listen to 25 minutes on that.
Because I don't just want to have a founder on. What am I getting from the founder? What are we answering? What questions do we not want to know? What questions do we want to know? How can this benefit us? And I really love connecting women, and I love that, there's no judgment, right? Like, we talk about plastic surgery, we don't talk about plastic surgery. We say what we do, we say what we don't do. Like, it's a really, we try to make it positive. We try to, beauty is, for me, was always on the outside. There was this little girl on the inside. And it's, beauty is not a size 2, 6 foot. It's not. It's what's inside. It's what's outside. And that mix together is what we want to try to talk about and get into. And, speaking of Gen X, even podcasts aren't talked, podcasts aren't they lean a little younger, but now, I don't know, the Gen X's are coming on board.
Excuse me. Yeah, it was interesting because when you were one for wellness and beauty, because I think when I do, the topics are so broad, you talk very much about. Obviously, you have a specific subject, but you do talk more broadly than about the beauty business. Is that the woman that from Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Risa, thank you for the name. Is that something new for you in terms of recruiting a very sought after guest, a newsworthy kind of newsmaker person? Is that something?
I don't want it to be pop culture.
Pursuit.
I don't want it to be in that way, but I became obsessed. I came off of a week with my children. I went to the BAFTAs with my husband. I took all my kids, and then we started kind of pregnant with Amy. We had the read through, and I think I was just kind of done, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get 2 nights in a hotel room with no kids, no husband, and I was so excited. And then I got the flu really badly. And then so badly that when Kenna, who works with me, called me, I'm like, I can't talk right now. We can't go over anything. I am dying. She goes, no, you've got to listen to this thing. It's so you. It's just you have no boundaries. You're going to love it. I was like, great. Anyway, so that is literally how she was I'm like, it's 52. It's literally 52 parts. She's like, don't worry, you can do it. And I'm like, thanks. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Hopefully the flu.
By the way, I was so thankful
quick
I got the flu. Who would have had 8 hours?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, I skipped over here when we were talking about something happy, and this is a big one for you, Kind of Pregnant, which is, it's an intriguing title. That's a big scale project with Amy Schumer, Adam Sandler producing. Was that, talk about the process of bringing those people together, and that's a different level for you.
Yeah.
And it's sold to Netflix as a comedy feature.
Yeah. You're not going to believe this, but my kids are still in elementary school, and I had a teacher come to a friend of mine and said, oh, we'd really like you to read a script. A lot of people asked us to read scripts, from your mother, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, everybody and their mother asked to read a script. She wasn't even my teacher. I was like, okay, I don't know. I'm from the South, so I always feel guilty. So I was like, okay, sure. I didn't mean it. I was never going to read that script. But then she sent it to me, and I saw the title, and it was called Kind of Pregnant. I was like, well, that's fucking weird. And so, I don't know, 2 pages in, I'm like, 10 pages in, I'm like, shit's really good. But it's about a woman who, someone like me, I was on a show for a very long time, on an NBC show called Las Vegas, and in my 5th or 6th season, I don't even know how long it ran, I was playing pregnant with Josh Duhamel's baby. We don't know whatever happened. But I had to wear this baby bump. for, I don't know, a whole season, so 23, 24 episodes. This book was about a woman, or this screenplay was about a woman who has been dating a guy, Dave, for 5 years, and she thinks she works in a school and all her teachers are getting married, getting pregnant, and she's like, today is the day. She tells Kate, her best friend, she goes, I am getting engaged. And he asked her for a threesome. And so she is devastated. Jillian Bell is her best friend, Kate. And she goes back and she was like, all upset. She was like, he wants a threesome. And she was like, I AI'd our kids. Like, they would have been amazing. And she was like, they would have been horrific. It is about a story about a woman who wanted something and she felt like she was missing out, and I was that girl, because when I was wearing that bump at 35 years old, I realized, like, I woke up one day and I'm like, I want a family. I went to a fertility doctor, single. This is way too much information for South by Southwest. But the point about my story is that I loved Kind of Pregnant so much because it hit such a chord with women when you wake up one day and you're like, I want something so bad that I don't have. And that is what it's really all about. And her friend announces that she's pregnant, and then her nemesis is pregnant. And we're on day 15. And
it's shooting now in LA.
It's shooting now in New York. And I'm going tonight after we finish. But she gave it to me, and I'm like, I'm not a producer. I know, I can't. And so I'm like, well, bring it back to me if you can't get it off the ground. Let me see. I could maybe make some calls for you. Literally, I didn't even mean it. And sure enough, like 6 months later, she came back, and I'm like, ugh. I said to my husband, I'm like, I really like this script. I'm like, it's so funny. It's so me. Except I didn't wear the baby bump outside of, Vegas. And I sent it to, I talked to Marty Bowen yesterday. I sent it to Marty Bowen. Of course, he passed because he wouldn't take me serious at the time, but he does now. And then I sent it to a couple of other people. Everybody passed. And then I had just done The Wrong Missy with Adam Sandler, with Happy Madison. And I had been doing Happy Madison movies for 20 years. I started with The Benchwarmers.
As an actor, you appeared in them, yeah.
I was like, well, you know what? I don't really even have but I had a name, and I'm like, I'm just going to submit it to them. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even know if they got it. I didn't hear a response. Judith didn't respond. Nobody responded. And I get a text on my phone about 4 months later. It's like, it's Adam Sandler. I want to make your movie. Thanks. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I show this to Scott, and he goes, what? And I was like, and that was 3.5 years ago.
Is Sandler somebody that you knew through the business, or this was out of the cold blue?
I mean, I know. I work for his company. He hires me in,
right.
his films he's produced. Like, no, this was not like, this was like a what the fuck moment. This was like,
it's funny.
Wait, I screenshotted it, by the way, Cynthia. Yeah, it literally, and it took, as you know, it goes through a lot of revisions and a lot of things, and then, we are so lucky to have Amy Schumer and Jillian Bell, and we have Tyler directing, and it's a dream come true.
And that's a little bit all in the family, because Adam Sandler's movies are based at Netflix, and
exactly.
So it was all working together.
Yeah, I couldn't, my husband didn't even know. I was like, what? And he goes, I didn't say yes to that. I was like, oh, you're funny. But
with Adam Sandler behind it, I'm sure it kind of rises to the top of the pile there.
Adam is incredible. He's just, I caught my kids watching my older one, Happy Gilmore. I'm like, you're not supposed to watch this. And then I'm like sitting there on the bed, I'm like watching it with him. I'm like, this is amazing. He's that talent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's his own world.
I want to encourage people, I probably should have done this earlier, there's the South by Southwest Go app out there, and if you download it, you can submit questions, and there they are. All right, Molly, you pick.
Do you have any fun stories or memories of filming the movie Fired Up? You know, so many people asked me. That was Will Gluck, who's a phenomenal director to this day. Oh my God, we had so many fun. I think because it was like a cheerleading movie, and like
That was Jimmy Fallon, correct?
that was wait, for Fired Up?
No, sorry.
No, that was Will Gluck. I can't even remember who it was by now, but no, I was a terrible cheerleader, so I made up for it. But yeah, it was really fun.
Since you brought up Las Vegas, I have to ask you, do you have any interesting James Caan stories for us?
Oh my God, Jimmy, God rest your soul. I loved him so much. I hated him in the beginning. Oh.
He recently passed a couple months ago?
About a year ago, I think now. He was incredible. He was very difficult on me. He was very difficult on Josh. He was working with a soap opera star and a model. I think it wasn't his, I think he was like, what.
After having starred in seminal films of the 70s and 80s, you're right.
That would be correct. But he was incredibly hard on us until one day I'm like, I actually walked off set in front of everyone. I'm like, you can't do this to me. And I don't know if he was just trying to get me to believe in me and to like push me to be better than I was and to trust me. But there was a really fun, we're at the bar and it's a 2-shot coming in. And as you can see, I talk with my hands. And so, whenever I had to work with Jimmy, I couldn't have my accent. I was always so focused on like not messing that up. And we're at a 2-shot and I'm talking, cameras here on me, cameras here on you, and I'm like this. I literally, in front of him, like use my hands on his close-up, and he goes, if you don't put your fucking hands down. I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself right now, but okay. But yes, it was the best acting school I could have ever gone to. He taught me so much. He taught me how to play tennis. He didn't care. He didn't care how I said it. He just was in it with me. And he just made me great.
So he was hard on you as an actor, but he wasn't a jerk, or he was both?
He was not a jerk. He just was hard. My walk and talks, like I wasn't used to hitting a mark, making something talk, I was green. Just because you've been in acting classes for 5 years doesn't really make you, there's something about learning on the job is real. But he was so good to me, and truly 6 years, I think he was not on it for one of the years, but really, or 5 or 6 years, I can't remember. He was phenomenal. And just the stories that I would hear about The Godfather and he was in the rodeo. It was really, his life was fascinating, and he just made us better. And he'd be like, take that again. And I'm like, he goes, let's take that again. It's nice.
Did you enjoy the work of series television? Being in these days, that show was an old-fashioned show that did 22 a year, quite different than the vast landscape we have.
And I think when I got the show, because they were like, don't worry, it's never going to go, because I got a reoccurring role.
It was on NBC. It was
on
set
NBC.
in Las Vegas.
Set in Las Vegas.
The name, Las Vegas.
I'm like, I can't move to Las Vegas, and I can't be on a show. I was just at the point of my modeling career where I was really starting to make money. And I, at that time modeled almost 8 years. So I'm like, oh my God, I've got to continue this. But then we ended up, like managers and agents do. They're like, don't worry, it's never going to go. Don't worry. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just do the reoccurring. And then a week before the pilot, they were like, it's series regular or nothing. I'm like, I can't do a series regular. There's no way. I can't be your 20. And it was 23 episodes at the time, which was a lot of work. And every year they were like, don't worry, it's going to get canceled. I think it went 5 or 6 years. I mean, honestly. I drove my production, Steve Sasson, crazy, because I would always be like, okay, I'm going to go work. I'll be back 5 a.m. on Monday. He was like, you're going to kill me. And I go, I know, I am. But I'm going to go make some money.
Sounds like quite a learning curve there, but a real learning experience for you. Do you want to pick another one?
Female ownership of IP is important. Can you elaborate on strategies Something Happy Productions uses to empower women to develop and own their own intellectual property? I think, really surrounding yourself when you're starting. I think one key piece that if you can, even if you have to do an hourly, is try to get a lawyer. A lawyer can really help you. I had an hourly lawyer when I first started, not in 100 years. I've been with James Adams for like 30 years, but I've given that advice, like, don't sign anything. Make sure your IP is covered. Make sure you're trademarked. Really, I cannot say this more. Please ask the questions. Be careful what you sign. I recently got out of something, and I was so lucky that I owned the IP. I owned the formulas. Just because someone can make it easy for you now doesn't mean it's right for later. But I do, even if it's an hourly lawyer, a lawyer who will do you a favor to look at the paperwork, to help you be strategic in even getting the IP. It is not easy, but please ask the questions.
Especially now when protocols and templates are changing right and left. Here's a good one. Who would be a dream guest for you to have on Lipstick on the Rim?
I mean, honestly, one of my dream guests was yesterday. I couldn't believe it. Like, what I couldn't believe more is that, because not that I was surprised she picked us, but I'm like, I'm so happy you picked us. You picked me. And she goes, you're Molly Sims. And I'm like, what? Well, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I was so unbelievably happy to connect with Risa. I mean, who would be like?
That's the kind of thing that probably would not have happened without a podcast.
Would not have happened.
Maybe through a book, but a
Yeah.
podcast is so intimate.
I mean, would love Oprah. Just saying. I'd love to pick her brain about her hair and makeup and beauty and all the things she does. Oh my God. I love having authors on. Like, if I could get Lisa Jewell to come on, she's an incredible thriller writer. Like, I got to do a Zoom with Kira and her, and it was so fun. I got to ask her how she comes up with these characters and her treatments and how her process. Like, I love when I learn about someone's process. It's really fun.
You'd be a good journalist.
I would like to have the Smart List boys on and do a Smart List Lipstick on the Rim. That would be a little dream. Actually, I know Will Arnett. Why have I not asked Will Arnett?
You could make this happen.
I might make this happen.
You have the connections. Keep sending those questions, folks. I wanted to ask you before, in our waning minutes here, you also have a very much an entrepreneur and a business line. You have a line of, I'm gonna mispronounce this.
Wise.
WISE, Y-S-E. Sorry, I couldn't decide if it was the acronym or the WISE, a line of beauty and skincare products. And in the past, I know you've had jewelry. What is that like to be the literal face of a product that people can buy? Do you feel you must feel a certain responsibility to make sure that what they're buying is good and well made and safe and all that? What's that? What is that like to be? Yeah,
and Wise. We launched Wise 10 months ago, last beginning of May, end of April. It was daunting. I started it at the plastic table when I started my producing. The other question to the 5-year plan was, is there any white space that you feel is underrepresented? And that is from the question. I'm like, well, let me go get all my stuff. So I went up and got like 15 to 20 products. I'm like, I've had a really bad skin problem. I have super access to any dermatologist, any product. And I've been on this roller coaster for about 8 years. And I've kind of gotten off the roller coaster and literally like, this is my routine. This is my system. And I had really bad hyperpigmentation, dark spots. I turned 40, I had a first kid. I don't know if it was sun, I don't know if it was age, hormones, a mixture of everything. But I had really bad, just uneven skin tone, and I was the girl who was the no makeup girl. I was the girl who could walk in a room and just put a little lipstick on, and I was not that girl anymore. And it really hurt my confidence. It really, then having babies, it would make it worse. And I would do really something drastic. I would do a peel. I would try to do a laser. I would go on hydroquinone, which is a really strong active. And I would do all of these things, and for about 3 months, Cynthia, it was fine. It was great. I was a little red, a little dry, but it wasn't patchy. And then the moment I went out to the sun, it would get really, really bad. And so after do you see any white space that you could figure out? I said, why is everything that's so clinical and so harsh not cool? And then why is everything that's millennial kind of cool? I mean, maybe too much pink, but, fun, but there's no efficacy. And that is how WISE was born. No one was speaking to Gen X. I don't want to be spoken to like I'm your grandmother. I don't want to be spoken to with beauty about, oh my God, how your hot flashes. Like, I don't know. Okay, that's a separate category. I don't want to age like that. I don't want to, what I realized in my 8-year journey, and it was truly a journey, that more does not mean better. More does not mean like it's actually worse. Because the stronger things are, the more irritated, the more you're breaking down your barrier. And that was what I was doing constantly. Every 3 or 4 months, I was just breaking down that barrier. So the moment, again, that I started to live my life, the patchiness would really come back. And out of WISE, it's a brightening line. It's been incredible. We launched April 25th, 2023. I was told that I could do this for a certain amount of money. I had been doing it now for 3 years. Up until that point, I was $2 million. They were $2.2 million off of telling me what it would cost me to see this through. I was under an immense amount of pressure. I did not want to be in the you're just another celebrity skincare category. Because this is something that's separate to me. It's a real brand that works. And I'd spent over $150,000 doing clinicals. And so April 24th of 2023, I wanted to vomit because this has got to work. And it has been unbelievable. It has just exceeded every expectation.
So there was a demand for what
there was a
demand. The issue that you were.
There is a demand. Mm-hmm. There is a demand for women wanting to be spoken to in a certain way, and also an education. Don't be putting retinol all over your face, girls, and going in the sun. There's going to the dermatologist and getting that laser or that peel. It's what our young teens are doing right now. They're using all these actives and they're 13 years old. It's the same thing. They give themselves perioral dermatitis. It's something really harsh does not mean better. And that is my routine recipe, and I do it, all of it. And at 50, I have better skin than I did in 2012.
There's so much misinformation and sketchy information out there that for sure, and those decisions you make, you can't take back.
98% tranexamic acid. That is not good for you.
Okay, Molly, in our waning 45 seconds, tell us how you've been touched by lipstick on the rim, by doing this podcast and having this presence. Now you've got 30 seconds. What comes to mind?
I think just connecting with women, connecting with my listeners, really, when we do our Ask Me Anythings, what do they want to know? What can I find out for them? How can we dig deeper? And what stories can we tell?
That's awesome. Thank you, Molly, for letting us take this tour through your life and your work. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for the good questions. And really appreciate you spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks, Cynthia. You're amazing.